It's Sports Update on 360 Sports TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. I have with me in the studio Choma Ezekwesili. Choma, welcome on the show. And let's move straight up to the first story where we have a UFC 287, where Adesanya will be earning double of what Pereira stand to earn in the UFC fight 827 that will be happening this weekend.
UFC fights. Well, I thought Pereira beat Adesanya 3 times now.
Yeah, this is the fourth time they will be meeting.
What's to say it's going to be different? What's your take on it? For you, how do you say it's going to be different?
It's for Adesanya. I think he needs to make a statement with this fight. So, do you think Adesanya will get the better of Pereira? For the this is the fourth time they will be meeting. 3 times he has beaten Adesanya, and then the fourth one. Will Adesanya allow Pereira to beat him the fourth time?
I'm going to be hopeful and say no. Revenge is always sweet when it's done when unexpected. So I'm going to actually count on. I'm going to put my money on Adesanya to get his revenge back.
You're going to put your money on Adesanya. Now, no matter what happens in this fight, now, if Adesanya loses, he makes more money. If Pereira wins, he makes less money. Now, is it that something came up, somebody said something. Is it that Adesanya is going for the money or for the fight, as in to redeem his bragging right?
I'll personally say both. Both, because we as humans, we won't want to end a case. I mean, we watched Anthony Joshua. He lost at some point, and then he came back and he regained this. So I think he's going for both. Yeah, it's a good payday, but having to get that title is also one of the goals here. He's going for both, and that's enough motivation for him. So I think he has what it takes right now. If he loses this time, well, he might as well just drop off of the UFC, because how can one person beat you 4 times and you won't do anything about it? It's not going to happen now. So hopefully, I hope he does better this time.
Well, he does better this time. Still on the UFC. If you take a look at it, of recent, the federation in Nigeria has actually, government has given the go-ahead for us to have the Mixed Martial Arts Federation in Nigeria. And then for Adesanya, we know he's a Nigerian descent, though he fights, he stays in New Zealand, they call him the... But if you look at it, how can we, these guys, himself, Kamaru, and the rest of them, what can they really do to bring down the fight, as in this sport, so that we can, because now the federation has been given the go-ahead. Do we say that Adesanya, after this fight, Adesanya should come back home and help us out with our federation?
It's what it's supposed to be. You've done your best. You've put your best foot forward, so you don't forget home when you go out. So when you're done there, you come back and you help, you invest. But I hope the federation will actually give him the free hand without the politics, the free hand to actually invest in the UFC in Nigeria. Because I think Nigerians we are good in different activities. We are very good. And I'm sure when this thing takes off, we're going to have more talent, more developed, more good people out there. So I'm really hoping that he doesn't forget us. He should come back and do what he can do to the best of his knowledge, leaving all the sports, politics, and everything out of it.
Okay, let's look at their fight now, side by side. Adesanya, he's called the last style bender. That is his nickname. But the last style bender was beaten the other day. Now, if you look at his tactics against Pereira, what can he do different from the last time out where he faced Pereira? Should he go for more punches, or what should he do different this time around?
More punches, in my opinion. From the UFC fights I've watched most times, if you start up with the speed, like, I'm not going to demonstrate that, but you need to, let me take you to the football stage now. When second half started, the way De Bruyne scored the goal against Liverpool, immediately the whistle went on at 45 minutes. Next thing we know, that was a goal, and that destabilized Liverpool. So now, bringing it to UFC, if you're fighting, you need to go with much more punches, like really fast, if you have the stamina, because it's going to destabilize your opponent and he won't be able to actually get back at you. And the more you have to consistently do that to. That's my opinion. I'm not a UFC fighter, but I mean, what we watch, if that's. So I think he has to go for the more punch, and he has to be really fast about it.
He has to be really fast about it. That fight will be happening in Miami, Florida this weekend. We just wish Adesanya well. Let's move straight to our second story, where Elegbeleye, who the man at the helm of affairs for IMC, has tipped Rivers United to go through to the semi-final to actually win the CAF Confederations Cup. For Elegbeleye, do you think Rivers United, because they have been dubbed the Manchester City of Nigerian football,
Yes.
can Rivers United win the CAF, because we've never won the CAF Confederations Cup before? Can Rivers United, because they are the only team remaining, can they win the CAF Confederations Cup for Nigeria?
If they go by what they played last year, you and I know when Rivers United was, as in the NPFL, we watched how they went to the top of the table. We're always talking about it with them. So if they go by what they did last year, I'm going to believe that since they are the last people there, they have their pride at stake, they have their promotion, they have everything at stake. They have to put in their best. They have no choice. Losing is not an option.
Okay, playing because they will be playing Young Africans, a team that is topping their league in Tanzanian league. It's from the Tanzanian league, but they so far this season they've won 21 matches with I think 60-something points on the table. And for Rivers United, they are, because they had some game in hand in Group B of the Nigerian Premier League. They are slugging it out with they are struggling that first position with Lobby Stars. Now, with a team that is so young Africans, and I don't know how young the players are, but against young Africans, another team, because they topped their group in the group stages of the CAF Confederations Cup, Rivers United came second. Now, can Rivers United, because this team dominated their group, what will it stand out for Rivers United against young Africans?
No two football games are the same. You can't say what you played here is what will happen tomorrow. Football is still the final whistle. We can analyze all the one here, but I want to believe that the same, how Rivers United got to where they are now, they didn't sleep. They were not, like, as in they were not playing. They got there by sheer hard work. So I'm going to say that they are going to put everything they have at this point. Like you said, you don't know how young the young Africans are. But they can be good in the Tanzanian league, they can be good in everything. But when they are playing, they are going to play Rivers United, they know they are going to play a Nigerian team. And Nigeria will be known to be called, but we used to be called the giant of Africa. So I want to believe that they too will have this fear that they are going to face the Nigerian league. So we have to just show them that, yeah, we're what the fair.
Okay, if I can put you on the spot, over 2 legs, what's going to be the scoreline, first and second leg?
2-1 first leg, 1-0 second leg in favor of Rivers.
In favor of Rivers United. Let's leave that story and head straight to the Super Falcons, where Coach Randy Wardrum has said the group they find themselves is a tough challenge. Do you really share Coach Wardrum's, let me say, his idea about the group we found ourselves, where we have Ireland and the rest of them? Do you think is a tough group for a nation like Ireland finding himself in our group, and then Coach Randy Wardrum saying that he sees our group difficult?
If 2022 Qatar World Cup has taught you anything, it's not to underestimate any team. We saw Morocco top the table in a group that had Croatia and Belgium. I mean, that was supposed to be a walkover for Belgium. So the first mistake we make is thinking, oh, this is a walkover, we saw Saudi Arabia beat Argentina. We can't, he's right for saying it's a tough team, because if you focus on that team, you get to do what you have to do. If you sit and say, these people are walkover, they will come to you and they will beat you. So when we have the likes of Republic of Ireland, Australia, and Canada, it's a tough group. It's actually a tough group. I hope Nigeria makes it through, but I personally, I've watched the Australian team oh, those ladies are good. They're actually good. I just watched like 2, 3 of their games, the Australian team and the Canadian teams. They are good, but there's room for improvement. So I'm going to say, yeah, he's right to be fearful of the team. It's not,
okay,
it's not
if you say to be fearful of the team, in over, I think, 2 friendlies against the Canadians, the team that actually went to the Olympics and lifted the Tokyo Olympics 2020 trophy, we played friendlies with them, the Super Falcons, and we're beating the first leg and then the second leg also. So now we find ourselves in the same group of the World Cup. Now, having played Canada over 2 legs, I think that would have given maybe Coach Randy Wardrum and Super Falcons team idea, knowledge about the Canadian female team.
Like I said, no football team is the same. You think you figured it out and they show you up with something else. So, yeah, they are supposed to actually use what they figured out and play the Canadian teams. But then don't rely on just what you've seen in the first 2 legs. You need to actually go and look for their weaknesses, like where they are weaker, their defense. The last game I watched against them, their midfield was not as tight
as ours.
Yes, that was the last game, but I didn't get to finish the game though. But from what I saw the first half, it wasn't so tight. So if they have to, I know what these football people, you play your games, play their games over and over, watch them on TV, see where you get through. I think that, yeah, with their experience, they are supposed to, this time, actually beat Canada, but it's football. Until the final whistle.
Until the final whistle, it's football. According to Choma, we just wish the Super Falcons well at the 2023 World Cup that will be happening in Australia and New Zealand. Let's move away from Australia and New Zealand and head straight to Italy, where Osimhen, our own Osimhen, is doubtful for Napoli. They have a game this weekend against Lecce, and then the Champions League is coming up. Now, Osimhen not for Napoli. How would Napoli fare without Osimhen?
It's a hardcore, very hardcore. Napoli, it's not like they wholeheartedly depend on Osimhen, but he brings like 70% to the table, to the game. He's a game changer. So I think Osimhen, he has to just cheer on his team from the outside this time around. And the team has to they have to pull their strength from somewhere else. You can't say, because it's just like Messi leaving Barcelona and you say Barcelona has died. I mean, they're topping the league now. We don't know who will win that ball. So Osimhen now being away doesn't give Napoli the right to actually fall back. It's not a one-man team. It's a whole squad. So they need to find their strength from somewhere else. They
need to find their strength from somewhere. Let's not forget this, that Osimhen is the marksman, the highest goal scorer in the team, and then in the Italian Serie A with 21 goals to his name. If going by that, now outside, he's going to miss this weekend's game, and then doubtful again for AC Milan. In fact, dreadful, because a team who just beat them last weekend 4-0. Now, Osimhen not playing the game for them in the Champions League. Now, who can they really call upon? Kvaratskhelia and the rest of them for Napoli. Okay, what if you are Spalletti? If you are Coach Spalletti right now, what will you tell Napoli to do in the absence of Victor Osimhen?
Pray and fast. Nah, they have to, all of them together, have to have this team talk. They have to have this, like I always say, go back to your drawing table. Because usually, the one thing I like about Guardiola is he has a first 11, he has a second 11. This is what I always expect every coach to have, so that you don't have your games around one person. You don't have all your games around one person. Okay, Napoli is fearful now because Osimhen is not there. Osimhen is not a machine, he's a human being. He's bound to injuries, he's bound to sickness, he's bound to anything. If he's not in the game, are we going to survive? So if they've not learned anything from this, they need to learn now. If I'm the coach, like I said, they should first pray and fast, and then look through the remaining forward that they have, and find a way to get themselves to actually win this game, because Osimhen can't take the whole team all the time.
Osimhen can take the whole team at the time. We just reached Napoli well in their subsequent games without Osimhen. Let's move away from Osimhen and head straight to Wembley, where they actually it came home. It came home for the England women, where they won the Finalissima 2023, beating Brazil on penalty shootout. They were leading 1-0 until that last minute, where Brazil has to equalize and went straight to extra time. Then we had penalty shootout, and then England standing out tall. Now for the English women team, now they've won. They are the defending champions for Euro women's Euro tournament. They won. Now they've won the Finalissima and then leading en route to the FIFA Women's World Cup. What has been the turning point for the English women national team?
Honestly, they know what they wanted and they deserve it. They deserve the champions. They deserve to win this. The Brazilian team, they were good, but the English ladies that the ones I've seen over the years, they've come a long way. It's not today. They've actually come on, and I'm happy they actually won this. Because when they equalized that last goal, I felt really bad for them. I mean, after all their hard work for the whole 90 minutes, and just for them to come and stab you at the last hour. So I'm very happy for them. And I hope they go ahead and do the same thing in the World Cup.
In the World Cup. Do you see them really winning the World Cup, where you still have countries like Germany, though because they beat Germany in the Euro Women's final. We still have a couple of, not forgetting our Super Falcons, of course. We are proud to be Nigerian. So can they really find their way to the final for the Women's World Cup?
Oh, being that Team Nigeria is there, we hope for Nigeria to get there, but we know that England is going to get far. I mean, this game they just won now, they are going to come from the high on that game. You can't just win this cup and then go and not perform properly in the World Cup. No. So we're going to be here, right? England, these ladies are going to go forward. I don't know who, I can't tell the country that's going to beat them, but they are going to pass their first stage. They are going to get to the second, and they're going to get to semi-final. Now, the winner, I don't know. For Super Falcons, I don't know, but okay. England.
All right, Choma has said it, the winner, I don't know, England. We just wish you well as you continue in the World Cup story. All right, let's move straight to where we have a FIFA stop fund for Indonesian Football Association. Indonesia has come under fire for the past weeks. They were stripped of the Under-20 World Cup hosting right because of, let me say, foreign ties with Israel. And now FIFA has come out with a big hammer by stopping fund for Indonesian Football Association. Can we say FIFA has done right by stopping funds for Indonesia because they offended by saying, okay, we don't want this country to come to our country to play the Under-20 World Cup, and then FIFA stripped them of the hosting right. Now, FIFA has stopped the funding. Is that a right move for FIFA?
It's actually a harsh punishment, but if the crime is as hard as FIFA makes it to be, then it's a good move. It's a good move so that no other country will do the same. Everybody will learn from this. It's actually a good one, in my opinion. It's a good one.
It's a good move, in your opinion. Now, if you look at it for Indonesia, because they are one of the Asian countries, and now why FIFA actually gave them the hosting right? No, FIFA tried to bring other nations, because what they said is to bring other nations closer and then open that place to the eyes of the world. Are we going to say Indonesia actually does not want to buy into FIFA's idea?
Why would anybody not want to buy into FIFA's idea? It's a good move to want to open up the world in football. So I'm not there. I don't understand the reason behind their decisions. But why would anybody not want to?
Okay,
It's a question we need to answer.
if you look at it, the bilateral, let me say, between Indonesia and Israel, I think maybe there's something. I'm not into their politics and whatever, but we feel that football is, let me say, sports in general is a unifying factor.
Exactly.
Now, Indonesia is saying one country should not come. Does that really mean they don't really want to accept sports as a unifying body for every, because sports bring peace to the world?
First, you don't bring politics into football. It's just like saying because of the war going on that this Arsenal player shouldn't play football because he's from Ukraine or because he's from, Russia. Russians are not supposed to participate. You don't. So for them to say that it's actually, regardless of whatever is going on behind the scenes, this football is meant to promote peace. It's meant to promote unity. It's meant to, so you saying that this country should not come, that's not peace. That's not, you're not promoting anything. So they should leave the politics to politics and leave football to stand for what it stands for. So I think the punishment deserves it. They deserve it.
The punishment they deserves it, because if you look at it, Indonesia has actually come under FIFA hammer. Let's move straight away up to Jose Mourinho right now, where he has been taunted with a very big money move from Saudi Arabia. Should Mourinho, if you are Mourinho, will you leave AS Roma and head straight to Saudi Arabia?
You get to that stage where in football you're playing for the money. That's where most of them go to the China and the Saudi Arabia and the rest of it. But Mourinho is not a player, he's a coach. He feels he still has a lot to say, a lot to give. So I personally think no. Unless he's after the monetary aspect, then by all means go. But he should stay back at Roma. He should stay back at Roma and give it. I don't know Mourinho I've been a Mourinho fan for the longest time when he was a special one, and even till now. I've not known him to be the going after the money person. So I want to believe he's going to turn that down because he's not doing a bad work at Roma, even when we know that Mourinho is supposed to be doing better. But I personally think he should remain in Roma.
Personally think he should remain in Roma after that big money move from Saudi Arabia. Mourinho Choma has said you should remain with Roma and then enjoy your stay in Europe instead of going to Saudi Arabia. And quickly before we go on the show, let me just put you on the spotlight right now. The biggest game of this weekend, which one are you going for?
The Premier League?
Yes, Premier League game this weekend. Man U, Everton.
Man U struggled against, they lost against Newcastle. Struggled in the midweek to be like 1-0. Everton, not so much. So I go for a draw or Everton. Man U is going to beat. Let's just be honest. Everton doesn't have all it takes to actually beat Man U, and Ten Hag is not known for losing back-to-back or drawing back-to-back. So for some reason, Man U is going to edge out Everton this weekend. At least one narrow win. One narrow win. All right, that is board on the show's first update with me, Emmanuel Fashemi. Choma, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for having me.